This month's Patreon request is a special one. Chris asked me to watch and review An American Tail: Mystery of the Night Monster, one of the direct-to-video American Tail sequels. However, because he's been a patron for a year now, and by the way, so can you, as a bonus, I decided to kill two birds with one stone and also review the other sequel, The Treasure of Manhattan Island. And watching these films and revisiting the first two theatrical release films in the series, it hit me how Fievel was a big deal at Universal. Now they have the Minions to market around every corner, but for a period of time, Fievel was their animation mascot, following in the footsteps of their earlier cartoon icon, Woody Woodpecker. In addition to the two films, there was frequent merchandise, a play area in the theme parks, a short-lived television series, and yes, these two direct-to-video sequels from the late 90s. Notably, these two sequels had zero involvement from Steven Spielberg, David Kirshner, Don Bluth, Simon Wells, and the other creative people involved with the original films. They weren't even Amblin productions. Instead, they were the product of Universal's direct-to-video animation unit, which was also responsible for the gazillion Land Before Time sequels. That might set off alarm bells, but they're actually not bad. Just really mediocre. To start with a positive, the characters are still recognizably themselves. While they make Tanya a bit more sassy this time around, the writers have not erased what made the Mousekowitzes appealing characters. A problem I find with some direct-to-video sequels is how the characters become radically different from their earlier selves. Remember The Secret of NIMH 2 and its complete derailment of the characters in the first film? I do, and it was not pretty. Tony is also given a larger role here, and the filmmakers have some fun depicting the small mouse society. They still function within the same logic as the earlier American Tail films and don't go too overboard with depicting the mouse versions of human parts of society. I quite enjoy the scenes of the newspaper office, with mouse versions of Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. Direct-to-video sequels also tend to dilute some of the messages of the theatrical films. While Mystery of the Night Monster and Treasure of Manhattan Island certainly aren't nearly as dark as the first American Tail, they do not shy away from the troubles of society. Manhattan Island involves the villains using fear and false propaganda to create prejudice against the little Native American mouse, and also to keep the mice working for them in line. There are corrupt policemen, and the 1% trying to squash unions. The film is not a grand social commentary and does not dig too deeply into those subjects, but I appreciate the effort. Manhattan Island also makes frequent reference to the fact the Mousekowitzes are Jewish Russian immigrants. That's especially nice. Can you imagine if Universal shied away from that aspect?
Now collect all 4 different McDonald's stocking ornaments featuring Fievel. Each one comes free when you buy the perfect stocking stuffer. A $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates.
Alright, that happened. The animation is also decent, obviously not on the quality of the theatrical films, but the characters remain on model through most of the films, and the backgrounds are pleasant. Unlike whatever The Secret of NIMH 2 was. I haven't seen or don't really remember any of the Land Before Time sequels, so that's my low bar for sequels to Don Bluth films. What are the flaws here? Well, the stories aren't anything really spectacular, and the dialogue and humor is pitched at a standard Saturday morning cartoon level. These are clearly aimed more for 5 years and younger demographic, rather than the general audience of the first two American Tail films. The songs are also fairly forgettable, going one ear and out the other. You won't hear any Somewhere Out There or even a duo quality songs in them. Surprisingly, they did not bother to record a full orchestral score, instead merely reusing James Horner's score from An American Tail most of the time. The villain of Night Monster is also an odd one, a poodle with plans to... Actually, I was not entirely sure what her plan was, as it and her motivation were kind of needlessly convoluted. She just seemed to want to sell mice to the neighborhood cats because... profit? The poodle also keeps randomly switching between a French accent and a Brooklyn accent, sometimes in the middle of scenes, and nobody acknowledges it. Overall, I just kind of finished these two movies with the thought, well, that exists, but there have been worse direct-to-video sequels, like The Secret of NIMH 2. Sorry, that sequel was just so bad. Say what you will about the American Tail direct-to-video sequels. At least they did not have Tony suddenly turn evil and have Eric Idle voice him for no real reason. Oddly enough, since the release of Mystery of the Night Monster, Universal has not done anything with an American Tail or Fievel since then. Maybe they did not sell as well as the Land Before Time sequels, which they're still milking, so there are clearly parents buying them for their children. With the way An American Tail has turned around and become culturally relevant again because of recent events, and Spielberg forming a new partnership with Universal, Fievel could make a comeback in some form or another. For now, some of us still remember the time when Fievel was popular enough to warrant 2 direct-to-video sequels. See you next time.